You know what day it is today? Today is 2 days after the release of the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative. And I really want to play it. Really do. But I will do that after I finish this game. Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you've been doing well. Tonight, obviously, it's more Apollo Justice. Alright, so last time we got started on Turnabout Succession. We found out some very spooky things. Someone is out to get us. I don't know who, but it doesn't matter. This is very creepy. Someone has drawn all 3 of my cases, and it is disturbing me. I don't know who. I don't know why. I mean, I'm just Apollo Justice. I'm a nobody. Let's save point. Right, so right after we figured that out, we're just thrown into the trial because, you know, Phoenix Wright do be trolling us. Oh, hey, Gavin. Of course. Of course, it's Clav. Well, we will now begin the trial of the Baramisham.
Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy, and he's looking all around nervous-like.
Right, so this is the first test trial of the new system. Forgot what it's called. Something to do with, like, the jury. Repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time. It may indeed alter our legal system forever. The juris system, that's what it's called. Today's the test of the juris system. It's kind of hard to say, jurist system. You're kind of like your mouth wants to get rid of the T at the end, you know, juris system. But I don't know. And the first step toward a new order in our courts.
Daddy's secret mission.
The jurists will function like a jury. It is hoped their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will. Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch the courtroom at all times. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurists, judge well and judge cool. Oh yeah, my favorite song, Guilty Love. Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that. My apologies there, Judge. Jurists, today's judge today's trial coolly, if you would be so kind. The jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings. Okay, so you just gotta make the jurists feel. Make them feel like our defendant is innocent. We're about to find out just what effect they're going to have. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. The details of the case, if you would. The victim is the painter Drew Measham, who was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? Not necessarily. The mug was poisoned. By none other than the defendant, Vera Measham. There wasn't any poison in the coffee. Someone has been doing their homework. Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself. Mug? Oh, residue was found on the rim, I see. We're just gonna have this be playing in the background at all times. I don't mind. This is new. The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death. Court accepts this as evidence. Alright, the autopsy report. Let's go give that a read. According to this report, death by atroquinine poisoning. Estimated time of death, 9 to 9:30 p.m. Jumisham, age 52, male. The victim's death was caused by atroquinine poisoning, a chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. Wow, that's very small. A touch of atroquinine in the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. You may present your witness. I have for you today a simple man for a simple case. Oh, is it Toothbrush Guy? A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. A journalist, no doubt. The witness will state his name and occupation. This fucking guy. What voice did I give him again? Not a good one. I'll give you that.
Alright. Well, for starters, my name is Spark Brushel. My job is a lone observer of the world.
In other words, a freelance journalist, right?
If you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record.
I'm just imagining what the nerd emoji would sound like, you know? You know those memes where people put the goofy music with the nerd emoji? Yeah. That's what I'm trying to embody here. Whether it's good or not, well, that's up for you to decide, isn't it? Yes, Mr. Brushel?
I just like conclusions, specifically the jumping aspect of conclusion.
What is he saying?
Preconceptions make parked sandboxes endless desert waste, end quote.
But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday.
Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today, a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for the exclusive rights to the story. Scoop turns Mr. Brushel into that Mr. Brushel. End quote.
Well, let's hear your testimony then, shall we? Simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury, still out. Journalist's story.
I visited the studio around 9 o'clock that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier.
I've never actually had this word said to me before.
Journalistic history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next? Star falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time.
That does sound like a simple case. Unless you were the one who poisoned him.
What? What are you saying? Judge!
Need to remind you, the cameras are rolling today. I felt the need to be a bit dramatic. You didn't do it, did you?
Me do a thing like that? Come on, that's like Newsmaker making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusation rock courtroom, end quote.
Rock indeed. Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun. Sorry. I'm so happy for him. Very well, Mr. Justice. Your cross-examination, please. Gotcha. Alright, Toothbrush Guy. You would look better bald. Just saying.
Hold it!
9 o'clock at night? Isn't that a little late for an interview?
The great painter Drew Measham says come at 9 o'clock. Believe you me, I go at 9 o'clock. The first, and as it turned out, last interview with such a prolific painter.
Right. Can you tell us what it was like when you arrived? first outsider to enter the atelier. Or is it atelier? I don't know. You were the first reporter ever in Drew's studio?
Posterity will look back on that night as a turning point in journalistic history. A basically insignificant step for all mankind, but a giant step for that Brushel guy, end quote.
If no one on the outside ever had access to the studio, then it would serve to reason that the deed was done by an insider. By which he means Vera did it. So, how did this epoch-making interview go? Brought us coffee right after you started. Would you mind being a little more specific?
Ooh-wee, let me tell you, I enjoy a cuppa. In fact, it all began when I was in the 3rd grade. No wait, 4th grade.
That's not what I meant. Kappa. I believe I know what Air Forehead is driving at. This coffee and the victim was served. Did anyone other than the defendant touch it? Right, that. That's what I was going to say, really. Sure, Apollo.
Well now, if you got a question to ask, you best straight up ask it. That's what I tell the new recruits, several times if necessary.
New recruits? Aren't you freelance?
Right for grade schooler. That's my motto. Which isn't to say that...
Okay, I couldn't read that. Who touched the coffee?
Dunno. I was in the back, looking at the studio's equipment when she served it.
And what happened next? You know what happened next? Star falls, end quote. Hey, he's making it sound way too simple. What's this about a star falling?
Star falls, huh? It's like an old telegram. Send money, over. Zowie! You don't know? That's like a journalism code word. An important personage passes away. A star falls. Get it?
I mean, I got it.
But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars would fall, really.
Does this matter?
Oh boy, this is good stuff, good stuff. How about star breaks? Nah, lacks punch. I know, star dies. Lacks imagination. Of course, you could go with Drew dies, straight to the point. I like it.
I think we need to hear something a little more substantial. The moment of death. About when Mr. Misham passed away.
Oh boy, what a scene that was. He puts his coffee mug down with a crash, right?
Yes, and then?
And the cold finger of death touches his spine. Life's flame sputters and fails. So cold was that touch he could do naught but tremble uncontrollably. Actually, Life's flame is a little tired. Life's river froze over. Yes, that's a go.
Why does he write on his body like that, like it's nothing?
I think he's starting his article already.
Is he made of paper or something? Could you describe that a little more simply?
Well, as you can imagine, I was pretty surprised. He hit the floor, as they say. Artist seizure is final performance, end quote.
Atrocanine paralyzes the central nervous system. The body arcs back like a bow. Limbs tremble and... That's quite enough of that. Some of us want to be able to sleep tonight.
Oh yeah? Well, I want details. Lots of juicy details.
For that, you can listen to our last year's hit single, Atrocanine, My Love, by the Gabiners, available at all major music outlets. They don't have streaming services yet? I remember them referencing this song. Last case. The point here is that the victim died of atrocanine poisoning. Well, Mr. Justice, how did you find that testimony? How important is that? Well, he did die of atrocanine poisoning, that's true. There's traces of deadly poison atrocanine on there. We don't know why yet. And on the rim. I'd say add it. I'm sure we can change it later. Might as well. Well, as an account of the moment of the victim's death, I'd say it's very important. Please add it to the testimony. Very well, the court requests the witness add this account to his testimony. Those spasms. Spasms. You say it was definitely death by poison. How can you be so sure?
Hey, look, I'm a journalist. I've seen a lot of things. And I've had more experience. I had more than my share of experiences with so-called poisonings. Man eats fishy fish, goes bye-bye. End quote.
Food poisoning doesn't count. Should I get him to talk about something else? No need. Brussels coffee. Stars coffee. Oh. How about the Stars coffee? You say Mr. Misham had the coffee too, but did you actually see him drink the coffee?
Of course. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger. End quote. I live in a man sees dog eat dog and writes about it world, yet I guess I can't say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to mug, drinks. End quote.
That poison is quite virulent, I hear.
My stomach did a so-called somersault. Since I gulped down the cup with so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe something's there. Some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess, for the record?
Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable? I mean, it still checks out with what we know. He didn't drink it necessarily. He just touched his lips to the mug. We'll just add that. Sure, the victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over.
Oh yes, you can go to press. You can go to press with that one.
Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the testimony. Very well, the witness will add this to his testimony.
Vital, right?
Okay, so does that replace it, or... Okay, it replaces it. He had one sip, if that. The next moment, he was on the floor. Do we have anything that contradicts that? No. Let's see what the last one is. He either took a sip or he didn't, and then fell over.
Oh yes, indubitably. Just like that. Wham bam.
Yes, indubitably. So Mr. Misham drank the coffee, then fell over immediately. I think Rushel's telling the truth, too. Should I get him to talk about something else? How about Brushel's coffee? So, you drank the coffee that Vera served you, too?
Of course. When someone serves you coffee, you drink it. That's what my old boss always used to say. I never did get what he meant by it, though.
But you're still alive, which is to say, you didn't die.
Of course not. No point falling before you're a star. End quote.
That's not exactly what I was getting at. I don't think this guy will ever be a star. I mean, just looking at him. What were you getting at then? Now Clavier, now that's a star. You know the poison was on the rim, not in the coffee.
Oh yes. There are 2 cups on the tray she brought, and one of the cups had Drew's signature painted on the side.
No chance the guest would take that one by mistake, I guess. Well, Mr. Justice, was that testimony important? Was it? I don't know. Vera Misham. Coffee mug. Let's see. Don't we have something that has Drew's signature on it also? Not this. No, that's not Drew's signature. That's Zach's signature. Letterbox. Can't really click on it. I don't know why it just shows us this, but there it is. Looks like you have to take this back part off to put a photo inside.
It'd have to be a really small photo to fit in there.
True, that pale bluish stain. Why would there be a poison in a place like this?
Well, there's one obvious reason.
Whoever put poison in the coffee rubbed a bit on there, too. It's not very obvious, Trucy. Which came first, though? Poison on the coffee or the poison on the flame? Very important. Talking about the coffee the witness drank. Let's say that is important. Very well, please add that to your testimony, Mr. Brushel. Okay, let's look through our evidence. What? Strange. Death by atrocanine poisoning. Estimated time of death, 9 to 9:30. Age 52 male. Okay, that checks out, I guess. This isn't important right now. Coffee mug. This is a slow-acting deadly poison. Oh, it's slow-acting. Yeah, you don't just touch it and then you instantly fall over. So I think we want the testimony about the moment of death. Did you say the victim took one sip and fell over? He still kept drinking?
Of course. Drink your coffee when it's hot. Never when it's not.
I prefer my coffee iced.
That's what my old boss used to always say. Never really knew what he meant by it.
Should we get him to talk about something else? Yes, talk about the moment of death, please. About when Mr. Mission passed away. Okay, yeah. Anyway, let's just skip this. Yes, it is very important. It was spasms. It was definitely death by poison. Huh. Here's what I think. He already had atrocanine on his lips by the time he sipped the coffee. So that's how the poison touched the mug. He already had it on his lips. So when So as soon as he took a sip, he was already like dying from the poison, so he just fell over. Those spasms, that was definitely death by poison. Okay, well that still checks out, but where's the one that said he fell over instantly? I want him to talk about him falling over instantly. Is that the strange part, you know? One so-called sip. Yes, it's very important. Okay, there it is. I think this one's it. He had one sip, if that. The next moment, he was on the floor. Gotcha. Slow acting. Easy. You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atrocanine. Oh, Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. The lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile. Why are you using me as an example? Let's say Apollo's a quivering pile already. Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. It was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. He kept it hidden from us. An omission. Atrocanine is as virulent as he says. But death doesn't come upon ingestion. Not immediately. And that's because atrocanine is slow-acting. Slow-acting?
What?
According to one forensic scientist, good old MS guy, it's one of the most virulent poisons, but it is absorbed into the body astonishingly slowly. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show. The If we suppose that the moment Mr. Misham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate, then he would still have had time left to enjoy his last cup. Enjoy his last cup of Joe. Running out of breath here. Order, order. What's the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why, that contradicts the entire testimony we've just heard. Well, Mr. Brushel, anything to say? On the record?
Slow acting. Slowact. It was virulent, all right. And then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist. He's working on the scoop.
It's Brushel, yeah? Herr Brushel. Let's take a trip back down memory lane.
Huh?
Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital.
You know what I think? I think that was a not so subliminal suggestion. End quote.
I admit, it does cause a problem if he died when you say he died. Look at Clavier trying to make him say he died later. I would be forced to say Auf Wiedersehen to my simple case. And you would be forced to say farewell to your article.
Come again?
You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye.
Scoop? Scoop?
He's brushing his nose and his tongue? Oh, dude. What? Why is he using the same brush for his glasses? Isn't that gonna, like, scratch it all up, too? Oh, this guy's the worst.
Scoop? Look, wait, well, just wait a second. Just 1 second.
We're waiting, we're watching. Out with it.
I think I just recall a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. A story survival, end quote.
Oh, really? Eternally, utterly confused, end quote.
Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I'd heard of a poison that takes its sweet time, see?
But not what I've been saying for the past few minutes, apparently. Mr. Brushel, are you saying you've noticed something that explains what happened?
You bet I am.
Oh, out with it then.
The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say.
Or I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say.
I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee.
Really? Well, if it wasn't you, you're just gonna say Vera. Order, order, order. As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony. That Mr. Misham died the instant after he drank.
Of course I'm standing by my testimony. My dream of exclusive rights to the story.
I suppose it was too much to ask for. What was? Of course he wouldn't choose a simple case. Not him. Him? Phoenix Wright. Who else? That's our boy. Toolman Brushel. Report for us, if you will. What was it that you noticed? It was smiling, and a grin. This court is a critical trial of the jurist system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed. What Brushel noticed?
When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note?
Suicide note? What if? A suicide note? Has a note ever been found?
Yes, he had this look on his face. A man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation. End quote. Suicide? Or Mr. Misham? But that means Vera's innocent.
Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview?
Oh.
Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. As sus as this guy is, I don't think he's guilty of anything. There's no way. These games, they never have the culprit testify first. Hello, Pig Cat. Welcome. Is there anyone at the studio other than Mr. Misham?
Well, his daughter Vera, of course.
Was anyone besides Mr. Misham and Vera present? You have a lot of emotes. I don't have a single one. I need to commission someone. Eventually.
Not a single one, not a cat, not a rat, not even a mouse.
The only person who didn't belong to that studio there was you, wasn't it, Mr. Brushel?
I know what you're doing. I know your game. Attorney uses classic Ramsden phenomenon ploy, end quote.
I have no idea what the fuck that is. If you intend to suggest that this reporter is a suspect, I'm sure you also intend to present evidence supporting that assertion, correct? In the meantime, let's move along, shall we? Writing the letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. Okay, he wasn't writing. Right, we found a red envelope containing 2 sheets of paper, and it was a letter to him, not from him. So he put the letter away when he saw you.
Only reporter gets worm, end quote. That's my secret.
I'm not sure I follow.
It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in.
Oh, you know what people do when they seal letters? They lick them. What if Drew Misham licked something to, that contained atroquinine when sealing the letter? But the only thing that we found that had traces of it was the tiny frame. Did he kiss the frame? I mean, there's no picture in here. Maybe the frame is just for, like, glue. I don't know. I don't know enough.
The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in.
Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that an unlawful entry, really?
Mr. Misham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one.
Does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice, I wonder, it does have the ring of something important. Sure, why not? The defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor. Very well, please add it to the testimony then.
Yeah, why not? My account comes free of charge.
At least this guy's cooperative. I'll give him that. It was a yellow envelope. I have not found any yellow envelopes. You saw him seal this yellow envelope with a letter?
Hey, don't look at me like that. I saw what I saw.
Oh, you think this might be... Big break, yeah. What I need is to show some decisive evidence now. I'll show it later. Nothing at the time, of course. You didn't think anything might be wrong at the time.
Hey, when I go in for an interview, that's what I'm there to do. The interviewer finds looking more effective than caring. End quote.
So what about now? Thinking back on it, did you sense anything strange in Mr. Misham's behavior?
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you all this to begin with.
Very well, continue with your testimony. Alright. If he was running a suicide note. There's no way. Suicide note?
Well, yeah, don't call me or anything. I'm just saying it's a possibility, you know?
So you didn't actually check the letter?
course not. It was sealed. Contents of can unknown until can is opened. End quote.
You can always check the label. You know, sometimes you just gotta open a unlabeled can.
You think Mr. Misham was writing a suicide note?
If he was, that would solve the case in a jiffy.
Kinda makes me wonder about that letter.
Alright. It was a yellow envelope. Alright, well, this has to be... Well, it's not this, obviously. It's gotta be this. This guy colorblind or something? As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope.
What?
Oh my god, that's Sprite.
It's fucking made of jello.
Like putty. Prosecutor Gavin? Yes. Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But her forehead. It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess. Not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushel?
I can explain that. True, right? He wanted to get that letter in an envelope pronto. Get it out of sight, out of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away.
And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Yeah, chump. Oh my god, thank you for the 100 bits. Wow, thank you. You have a great voice. Thank you very much. Shit, the kind words. Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. No, it's impossible, because he did not write it in the first place. That's impossible. Ah, I like your expression. So full of confidence. It's simple, really. Look at Apollo, all confident now. So grown up. What a big boy. As it so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist.
What?
No, he's gonna get pissed at Emma. No, thank you. No, thank you. Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham.
Oh?
Why would he address a letter to himself? Because he loves himself that much. Self-love. Remember, to love yourself. Let alone send a suicide note to himself.
I've been scooped!
I swear, is he gonna, like, pop? I feel like his head is a balloon and a toothbrush at the same time. Order, order, order. Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court?
My, how could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots, end quote.
I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel.
Well, that's the thing. See, after he put this letter in that envelope.
Oh, it's this song again? When have I heard this before? Ugh, trying to remember. When was the first time I heard this? This was in an earlier Ace Attorney game. Who had this song? Oh my god. Take my money. No. What am I supposed to do with this? Thank you. I'll accept it. Thank you very much. I just don't know what to say. Who was it? It's good. I mean, it's not like I can give it back, you know. Ah, shit. Okay. Who? I'm trying to remember. Was it Mo? The clown? Whatever. I can't fucking remember. It's just I know the song. I've heard the song before. I'm not gonna stand you forever trying to think of when I first heard it. Let's see here.
Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something.
His desk drawer.
Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote.
Stamp? Whatever for?
Well, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope, and he put it in that box.
Well, did anyone find a yellow envelope in that box? Well, apparently this yellow... Okay, I could not read that. I'm sorry. This text box is way too fast for me. I'm getting old. I fucking can't fucking read, okay? Like, someone... Games these days.
Oh, how I wish it did. Just think of it, we're a suicide note. What a story.
I can't... I can't send it back. Well, I mean, I do accept it. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. This is what people do. People do for fun. Trying to make people... Trying to make people break on stream through donations, bits. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Can't do it. Possible. I am unbreakable. Thank you, by the way.
Star writes suicide note in front of a reporter. Falls, end quote.
As I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said,
Yes, Your Honor.
makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. Yeah, it's a little strange, isn't it? Sign the papers and send in the $100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah?
So, am I finished? Year, I mean. Am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing.
Okay. Lorelei Lasley, thank you for the follow. Oh, okay, and Pigga, thank you for the subscription. Wow. A lot of support tonight. Thank you very much, everyone. I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that rather unique face. I feel like he always makes unique faces. Like, his entire face is just, like, body horror. You know? He's got that clown nose. Speaking of clown noses, oh my god. Ace Attorney has been blowing up recently. Have you seen that? You might know what I'm talking about. That one animation with the clown girl. Well, if you haven't, It's pretty funny. I would recommend watching it. You're a founder. Yes, that you are. I wonder what it means. Like, I mean, it says first, but I guess technically you're not the first to ever subscribe to my channel. I'm sorry to tell you that. You're the first in a while, though. I'll give you that. No one, other people don't have to know. You can be the first one. Just for the record. Instead of 10 people, there aren't even 10 people here that you can give them to. Oh no. No. Don't even think about it.
Ah, come on. Attorney has active imagination. Little else.
Oh shit, I skipped that. I'm sorry. Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about. Really? Do you have powers to judge? You know, for how long you've stayed with us, I'd be surprised if you didn't. I'm stuck with you now. It's not the worst thing that could happen, right? Judge has an active imagination, end quote. Please continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story. Ugh, he's doing that again.
Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here, usually.
The scent of a story.
Anyway, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview. End quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago.
Oh, that's 7 years ago.
That red envelope probably had something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare.
Talent in forgery, that is. So you threatened to go to press with the story. That's how you got your interview. Blackmail?
Well, yes. I mean, no. No.
Yes.
It wasn't exactly black. I mean,
It was red. Red mail. Something wrong, Mr. Burchell?
Look, this is my story, my tidbit. Journalist's info is livelihood, end quote.
I see. A journalist's life is rough. Only imagine.
Well, you have me chatting away in here. What's going on out there? What if some Wally Wordsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story?
May I brighten your day? Thank you for this voice. Well, you certainly have. Thank you for that. Nothing like a boost of confidence, right?
You'll be going to press while I'm going to waste.
The court feels your pain, Mr. Brushell. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. What, for this guy? Are you serious? A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? Tracy's there like, huh? Okay, I get to use my super scanner. Actually, it's a bit of work to get a thumbs up in the interview. Okay, let's press everything first. Oh, it's late for you. You have to go. Hey, no problem. Thanks for thanks for stopping by, and thanks for all your support. Really means a lot. Hope to see you again. Have a good sleep. The victim, Drew Misham, had an aversion to reporters. Yeah, I'm definitely not stopping here.
Boy, I guess not even my considerable charms did much for him. Until I finally got my thumbs up, that is.
Maybe you can elaborate on that bit for us.
Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote.
Okay, reporter leverages story. Exactly what sort of story was this?
Oh, little one, like I said. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing in between. End quote. I might have suggested that I have a lead on this particular story. But I didn't threaten or cajole or nothing, honest.
Suggestion was enough to get an interview. Mr. Misha must have really wanted to keep it under wraps. A certain case from 7 years ago. A certain case 7 years ago. Tell us, what case? Oh, he's sweating.
Let me state one thing, Mr. Attorney, and you can quote me on this.
Oh my god. I fucking burped in my mouth. I'm sorry.
I can't talk about that case.
Why not? Okay, you took the words right out of my mouth.
It's about journalistic pride and staunchness and credibility and connections. A journalist reveals sources only over his dead body, end quote. So what'll it be? Gonna strangle me? Dead men don't tell tales.
Oh my god. Sounds pretty determined not to talk.
Our chances of breaking his will aren't looking good.
Breaking his will? Juicy. You're a lot more hardcore than I thought. On the one hand, we have your story, and on the other, this letter. What makes you think the two are related?
Oh, just saying it's possible. You can call a reporter's intuition, end quote. Hey, I say a lot of things. Are you gonna pick them all of them apart? Be my guest.
All of them? No, just the incredibly suspicious ones. I see. Anything else to add about Mr. Misham? Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. Just how amazing was Mr. Misham's talent?
Huh? The hoo-wee boy. I mean, hey, he's a star. A star. The flow of his brush is like a great undulating river across the canvas. Artist paints light up studio like sun, end quote.
This guy's full of wacky gestures. That one just now was wackier than usual.
Looks kind of nervous to me, Apollo.
Definitely. Sensing something different than before here. Well, he brushes his tongue and his glasses. It's time to bring out the you-know-what.
That testimony left a bad taste in my mouth.
It all makes sense. Nothing jumps out as ridiculous.
I wonder what the story he's talking about is. It must have been good to get an interview with a famous recluse like that.
Something powerful enough to drag Drew Misham out of hiding. I wonder. Maybe it had something to do with Mr. Misham's art. It's because he's a forger, Apollo. You know this. He blackmailed him because he knew he was a forger. Oops, did not mean to do that. Now that I think about it, this guy's like the ultimate boss when it comes to using your bracelet, right? Because he's just so weird. He has so many like creepy body quirks, you know. His movements are so erratic. You never know which one like stands out. Alright, well, let's use it here. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. Yeah, the brush. Let's do that again. And fast forward this, it's kind of annoying, but what can you do? Okay, so the brush doesn't move. This doesn't move either. What is the other arm? Do that again. And his eyebrows. Hmm. Okay. Nothing's wrong with that. Let's go back. Probably had something to do with it, he says. Ugh, I don't like doing this. I don't like staring into him. Probably had something to do with it. Well, he looks as normal as he can possibly be right now. Gonna go through another pass. Doing anything with his arms? No. What is it, Adam's apple? No. He's so mesmerizing. I guess that's one way to put it. No, let's not look at that. Story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. Okay, it's this one again. This one's not obvious. I really have to look around for this one. 7 years ago. The brush isn't moving. Hmm. Yeah, nothing here. His ears aren't moving. No. I don't think it'd have me look at his, like, elbows or anything, right? Stop. Go back. Maybe it is the last one. Okay, I don't think it's this one either. As much as I hate to do this, let's do this one. Let's look at his front-facing spread again. Oh god. Porter leverages story. He's so detailed. Mino-like. Yeah, no. It's gotta be the last one. Let's look at his Adam's apple. I feel like it's gotta be here, right? Checked everything else. Drew's talent. Look at how happy he is. He's certainly happy. Okay, so his neck doesn't move at all. Arms don't really move that much. Let's look at his elbow. Elbow cam activate. Maybe it's his hand. Maybe he, like, moves his fingers or something. Say what you will. Drew's talent. It's without compare. This is the first one that I've actually had a little trouble on. Have I tried his titties? Look, he's gonna have in his titties. What the fuck? What was that? Did you see that? Maybe that's just me. What the fuck? He sweats in his armpits. Ugh. Thought this guy couldn't get worse. It's repeatedly sweating. Oh no. Oh, this is the last place I would look. Oh no. turns out you were onto something. This isn't exactly his titties, but close enough. Ugh. Is he sweating his other armpit too? No. It's only his right armpit. Why? Gotcha! This sweaty man. Sweat much, Mr. Brushel?
Oh, yeah, well, a man can't help his glands, you know.
It's more than that. Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned. You suddenly began to sweat buckets.
Ah,
You're hiding something about his talent.
what? That's ridiculous.
Evidence time. Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. Just so happens I have evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter. That's right. Here we have. Guess I show this painting because this one is the forgery.
Now, I can't help but wonder what the court is supposed to conclude from this evidence.
Oh,
And that you made a horrible mistake.
what do you mean? This one's the forgery.
Man burns bridge, forgets to cross burst, end quote.
Let's try again. It shouldn't be so hard. Okay, well, it's gotta be the real one then. No, the actual forgery should probably do fine. Okay, game. I see your game. I don't understand you at all. This painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. Second is that there was another painting in the studio, which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. Business of making forgeries.
Ow!
He's gonna fucking pop. His head's gonna like turn into one of those julienne vegetables, I swear. That is all, Your Honor.
Everyone, please, everyone. Can we keep this private, please?
I mean, you said please, so I mean, we kind of have to, right?
This is my story, my scoop.
Forgery. That's a serious crime.
Drew Measham is known as an artist these days. But there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art a few years back.
Another art, meaning forgery?
Drew Measham was talented, alright. Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. A fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover.
Criminal elements? What? You can't be seriously talking about
Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence.
forging evidence?
The rumors started circulating 7 years ago.
7 years ago? Wait, didn't Phoenix get his badge revoked for using forged evidence? Maybe this is the guy. This has to be the guy, right? Don't say anything. Shh. I know I'm right. So, are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for...
Exactly. Forged evidence nets tidy profit, end quote.
Wow. Order, order, order. Why, it's like our victim was living a double life. Ha, this is my chance. So the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have plenty of enemies we know nothing about. This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation. But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here. There is no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was, and remains, simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that bug that night. And you, of course.
Hey, the only thing I poison is my pen. When I'm writing interviews.
Mr. Brushel, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. Doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen.
What are you talking about? The journalism is rock solid. Journalism so solid you can stand an elephant on it, end quote.
In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. You can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap. The trial is over.
Apollo, what's he talking about?
Cross-examination showed Mr. Brushel didn't have a reason or means to poison him. So as long as there's no other suspects, the killer had to be Vera. That's what. This next testimony is our last chance. Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please. Recap.
The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter.
Nothing left. Didn't you just say he put the yellow envelope in the mailbox? Nice testimony. Clear, succinct, and without room for doubt.
Oh, shucks. You really think so?
I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice, you may begin your final cross-examination. Right. I still have one trump card left to play. I won't let this trial end until I use it. What is that trump card? How do I not know about this? Is it this? Or is it the... Is it the actual paintings underneath these forgeries? Hold it! That doesn't prove Vera poisoned it. How many times have we heard that one, Herr Forehead? The poison reached its victim via the coffee mug. And from where did that coffee come, Not to beat a dead horse again and again, but perhaps you could fill us in?
I'm on it. You need a horse beat? I'm your man.
You witnessed her pouring the coffee.
Of course I didn't witness it. When she came in with that tray, the coffee was already poured and it's steaming.
Let us not forget the defendant has admitted to pouring coffee herself. I heard her statement. I poured, I served, and I killed. What? She said that? I don't think she said that. She doesn't say anything. That last part was just a little joke. Clav, always clowning around. Fucking clowns. I can't get that video out of my brain. Especially when I'm playing Ace Attorney. The clowns are mentioned. I've got a case of classy fever, and I want to make whoopee with her cushions. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere with this coffee mug. I need to find another weak spot in this case. You sure about that?
Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time.
This guy would eat a shit ton of, like, mint candies. Not even mint candies. He'd just eat, like... I guess all, like, mints are mint candies, aren't they? Breath mints? Are breath mints under the category of candy? I don't know. Like, I guess when you... Like, you buy a tin of Altoids. You don't call that candy, do you? When you eat one, it is sweet. Either way, Brushel is the kind of guy who, like, eats mouthfuls of Altoids. Like, he just, like, grabs a whole handful of them and shoves it in his mouth. Yeah, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room. And no mint residue was found. It's a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than a coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof. Possibility is there, I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it, not yet. Possibility isn't going to cut it, not now. Mr. May should have ingested that poison via a route other than coffee. I know what I can use, but I don't want to use it right now. I use this tiny frame with the atropine on it. He might have like licked this or kissed this. Probably kiss it because these are lip markings on the mug. Not yet. I know what I need to do. It can't be proven. I do believe our little forehead is growing up. Pity. I like the rash youthful forehead best. Another hole in this kiss that needs plugging before I can prove anything. First things first. Better uncover a weak spot before I try to strike again. On with the cross-examination. Nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing.
Not one thing. You sure? Yep, sure as can be. Well, with one exception.
One exception? What?
Journalist Spark Brushel does an interview. Leave studio. End quote.
This guy.
Come on. It's a joke, get it? Not funny, I know, but still.
Did something leave the studio that night? Why does that sound familiar? I've never heard something like that before. Okay, well now the game's telling me that I need something else, right? Now I'm leaning away from the tiny frame. Probably talking about the yellow envelope. Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn our defense attorney before returning to this testimony. Do you have any idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night? Probably the yellow envelope, but I will not say anything just yet. I didn't think of a single thing. If anything did leave, would Mr. Brushel have noticed?
That I would. Nothing left, save myself, of course.
Say that again and you'll be held in contempt of court. Let's get back to the cross-examination then. Clearly the one who could have poisoned him. The only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. False. Say clearly as though it were obvious. This claim that the defendant poisoned the victim is merely conjecture.
Yes, well, you see. In every business, it's all about making the most ridiculous things sound right. A bad habit, I know. Yes, well, actually, I guess this is more of a case of ridiculous journalist sounds wrong, end quote.
The court is forced to agree with you. Please refrain from wild conjecture.
Understood loud and clear.
Only I could believe that. I like the sprite. The whole, like, the wilting antenna. Sweating bullets.
What do you think, Apollo? Everything he's saying seems not flawed.
Well, that's kind of what you want from a testimony, really. I need to keep my eye out on what matters. How and why was Drew Measham killed? I report the coffee, that's not going to change. That coffee didn't kill him. I need to find what did, and prove it. Okay, now that last one there. Now that's tipping me back toward the tiny frame route. So I will go and present the tiny frame here. Alright, talk about mints, yada yada. I can prove it. Proof. It's possible. Risk it. Oh, excellent. Let's see your proof then. Please show us your evidence. What evidence shows that the victim wasn't poisoned via his coffee mug? Here you go. Is that good? Music stopped, but he did his little, like, victory. Victory air guitar. Must I explain this over and over and over? We don't need possibilities here, our forehead. We need proof. I know that. You should also know that every proof has its moment. Perhaps you're a bit early? I can tell you what we need, what we know at this point. The victim put nothing to his mouth but that coffee mug. Another hole in this case. Okay. I'm not punished, though. And they did tell me that I'm early. Maybe they're telling me that just way ahead of us. You gotta take it slow. We know you understand the case, but you gotta take it step by step. And, you know, that's fair. That's fair, but if only I could just make my entire case right now. Alas, this game is not built for that kind of thing. Is it present? Best and then present. Right, yep. You talked about the yellow envelope literally like one testimony ago, but everyone seemed to have forgotten. I don't think he lied about that, did he? Just one thing. This one thing might very well have left the studio that night, actually. A certain something that has vanished from the crime scene. By which you mean? Something other than our witness? Of course. Don't tell me. Vera mission? Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional. Let's see what you've got for us, Mr. Justice. Well, this thing wasn't at the scene of the crime, so I can't show it to you. But I do have evidence that shows what it could have taken from the scene. Could have been taken from the scene. Do I have that? Just the letterbox? This is the only link between that studio and the outside world. A letterbox? What did Mr. Brushel just tell us when he entered the studio on the night of the murder? The victim had just finished writing a letter. How did everyone forget?
Ah, yeah, I said that. Yeah, it was true.
Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. Oh, but that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night the yellow envelope disappeared. Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing. Huh? What is this guy on? I mean, he's doing his job, right? Here's the point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Misham. Is it really important that this envelope, the witness says, he saw disappeared? Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. Very well, then the witness will add to this testimony.
You got it.
I still think this fails to change anything. Her forehead. I wouldn't be so sure. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for. I hardly think that matters, huh? Nothing could be more serious than an envelope disappearing from that studio. You were hiding that fact from us.
Yes, well, actually...
I don't argue the possibility that a letter disappeared from that studio. Her forehead, isn't there a much more serious question before us? Right, how Mr. Misham was poisoned, I know. It's like I said, he licked the envelope to seal it, and the envelope itself had poison on it. But Mr. Brushel, his testimony has changed, which means the facts of the case have too. And what he's told us means something entirely different now. I'm starting to think.
Let's keep thinking, Apollo.
You mean, I'll keep thinking. Trucy, you can just be there and look cute, I guess. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Body horror. Jesus. Uh-huh. Okay, maybe I press here after I press that. One sec though. I'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. Alright. Press this. You sure about that?
Let's be really, really precise.
Okay, it's the same mint spiel again. I can prove it. Proof is possible. There's nothing. Do I present the letterbox now? So you understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Fair Forehead. Not possibilities. I don't really have proof, though. Of course, and Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. What did you say? I have proof of the disappearing envelope.
I saw him writing a letter, I did.
Just picked up by the mailman, I assumed. Of course, which means that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp? Oh! As we all know, stamps come with dried glue in the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp. Uh-huh. Oh, I said the glue in the envelope, but yeah, the stamp works too. No one worth talking to actually licks stamps in this day and age. Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all. Okay, so he licked the stamp. Wait, how does that explain the atropine on the rim of the coffee mug? If he licked the back of a poison stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? That would then happen. What would then happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth, Exactly. Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing. It was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Measham. Mr. Measham poisoned the coffee mug himself. Figured this one out. My brain is massive. 3,000 IQ. Order. That doesn't... Does it? Recall, if you would. Atropine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on that envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. I didn't even have to present anything there. He's just scribbling. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh. His nose is picking up another scent.
As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Measham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp, end quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one.
Maybe he just run out. Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps. Not a single one. Ah, so the stamp went into the tiny frame. The only way it could happen. That does pose a problem. Well, you proved that the stamp was coated with poison. Actually, I'm glad no other stamps are found. Makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible. Good show, good show. Can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene. Can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Oh, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp? Here you go. Oh, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. That begs the question, how long did he have this stamp for? In this frame? What if this murder was like premeditated? Years in advance. It was like an automatic setup, an automatic murder. As soon as Measham felt like sending that letter, whenever he wanted, he'd die. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection. So what? Ah, apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atroquinine residue.
What? Why wasn't I told about this?
Because Emma likes me more than you glimmerous flop. Or fop, what she calls you. The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most.
You're insane.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? Commemorative stamp, perhaps. Order! Poison stamp was in this frame.
Impossible.
Prosecutor Gavin. How'd he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. In a way, yes.
You know what? Can I say something? I had a thought, see?
Well, Mr. Brushel, please stop jittering around like that.
The victim was a forger, right? And there's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies, too. End quote.
So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. What's he thinking about now? He's jamming out. That's some really good animation, though. The transfer from the last, spread of the air guitar to the wall slam. I like that. Oh, rich. That's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Gavin or his song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. Stamp is a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Why, who would go to such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree.
Come again?
Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Umisham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. Still can't get over this guy's hair, it's amazing. Mail? It's like, do I have an afro or do I have a nice, I don't know what haircut you call that. But whatever it is, why not both? What a genius. Now if you wanted to kill someone, you couldn't meet. But you knew red letters. A stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Shows evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. Might not have evidence, per se. Things are finally starting to come together.
What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling.
I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Misha was killed. Well, listen, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Misha the stamp of death. Do I have that? What's in this? Let's read this again. Have deposited 100K into the designated account. Please send a receipt once you confirm the transfer. Sign the papers and send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. There it is, folks. It's that easy. Alright, present. Isn't this the envelope? The one from 7 years ago? This murder was planned 7 years in advance. Think about the text of the letter again. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope, the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Oh, the stamp was so important to him that he framed it.
In other words, if I had it straight, the stamp, poison on the stamp, lick, gasp, end quote.
Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked?
You would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox.
15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath. No pun intended. And the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Thank you, postal system. Such a splendid imagination you have here, Forehead. This is the most air guitars we've gotten in a in a trial. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So, this poisoned stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago? Yeah? Is that what you have us believe? Really? Well?
It's a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility.
Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poisoned stamp in this envelope? The stamp that then became the murder weapon? How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence?
Well,
Yeah, it was 7 years ago. And we don't even know who sent that letter. And your answer is silence. I see. Very well. I move to... It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein Clavier. Oh, shit. Is this who I think it is? Is this Gavin number 1? Oh, hello. Ah, Emma. Okay. Oh. What the fuck? Okay, I was just seeing things. Apparently. Emma doesn't have powers or anything. Does she?
well, like my Christoph Gavin impression. Do I sound like him?
I guess you do. Wow, you should be a voice actor, Emma. Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein Detective?
Now, someone had to come dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case.
Mess? Mommy, save me.
You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out if that stamp was in that envelope easy. Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective? Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's on the residue, right?
Yeah, if you see residue in the envelope, then case is closed. That's right. Poison detection spray. Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of the court. There it is. Spray away. There it is. I have to click on it. Or tap it. Well, when you look at that.
No mistaking it. That's atroconine residue.
I don't believe it. Murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last.
Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a heartache.
Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago? Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out.
Figured what out?
He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp.
And put his decisive evidence in a frame.
Different stamp. Hold it.
Ooh. Ah, you're still here?
Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark Razortooth Brushel, claim the scoop as mine.
This fucking guy again.
Drew Misham killed in cold blood by sender of 7-year-old letter, end quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay, end quote.
Order. I see no room for further argument here, though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp is ticket straight to afterlife, end quote.
Everyone's doing it. Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge.
I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant.
Apollo, I think we just won.
Very well, this court finds the defendant. Oh.
Oh, it can't be that easy, huh? Is this the bright future of our legal system?
Prosecutor Gavin?
A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago. Tickets for Gaviner's shows are invalid after 2 weeks.
But it doesn't make sense any other way.
Boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Herr Forehead's claim. A contradiction? A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? Yeah, if he knew it was going to kill him, why would he use it? Emma explained that. He must have realized it was poisoned. Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham sensed a trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use that stamp the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot. He put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? You expect us to believe he's spraying the trap on himself?
Oh my. Well, I admit, this is all quite shocking myself. It does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years.
Apollo? I don't think we're winning anymore. I'm back to see we're all back in the real world. I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Excuse me. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you. Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope? Poison stamp? Where exactly is this poison stamp again? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed. What about the atroconine residue, huh? No, I agree. That does seem to be atroconine residue. But Herr Forehead, certainly no stamp. Yeah, but even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all.
Yeah. I believe we've come to a conclusion. Again.
Apollo, were we wrong the whole time? No, we're on to something. I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be a coincidence.
I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year.
This year? Oh, it was a joke.
Mr. Justice?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of poison atroquinine, on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, in this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope. An envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamp on it.
Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, Andrew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame. He never would have used that stamp.
I'm afraid you're right. Which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case.
I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroquinine enveloped the frame. And Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us?
The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. I love this song. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. Ah, fake clue. Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah?
The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison trail is none other than... It's gotta be the frame, right? Because the frame indicates that he knew it was poisoned. And Gavin's argument is that if he knew it was poisoned, why would he use it? It's gotta be the frame. This frame is the fake clue? Without a doubt, Your Honor.
Objection!
Wasn't it you who presented this evidence to the court? Oh. Hold on a second, Apollo. The poison on the envelope, that frame, and the coffee mug. They're all connected somehow. Oh, right. Ugh. You hear it already. It's like the fake. It was you here for it. We can flock ourselves later, Apollo. Now it's time for thinking. What? Wait, it's not that one? The fake clue is Drew Measham. Okay, if I'm not penalized, I kind of want to choose this one just for fun. The victim is a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. It all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself.
Objection!
Congratulations. You've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake evidence of fake himself, the forger. Makes a good story, I'll give you that. Wait, was it actually the right one? No. Fakes, forgeries. Oh!
I know that face. That's the I just had an idea face.
I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. What if our forger is the fake? Come again. 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into the very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Wait, are you serious right now? So, is the victim not Drew Measham? Here we are again. The victim was a fake. One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into the trap. That's two forgers, and one of them was a fake. That, I never would have imagined this in my entire life. Order, order, order! I just did that one as a joke. Okay. I guess I'm a genius? Question mark? So you're telling us that Drew Measham, the victim, was a fake. Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo. I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us who the real Drew Measham was. Drew Measham wasn't the real forger. There's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Measham was himself a forgery. The real forger was... Vera? The only one in the studio was Vera. The only other one. And not counting the night of the murder. I can't think of anyone other than her. There can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Measham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Measham. Order, order, order! Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you.
I kind of agree. I mean, Vera, a forger?
Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. This case is insane. I like it. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in the trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Measham's. Vera Measham's. If we know that Drew Measham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Measham. Well, he's jamming. Fascinating. Hello, Vera. Vera Measham? Paying attention to the trial so far? Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger, Drew Measham? Oh? This is a new sprite. Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. I'm used to being stared at by Frauleins. Believe me. Though they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged the works of art? Yes. The big smiley face. So, the forger, Drew Measham, was you? Yes, it was me. Oh, crying face. I like her. What? What? The court was in an uproar, and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. Well, she is guilty of a crime, but not the crime. We've been getting a lot of those finds recently, haven't we? Maki was guilty of smuggling, and who else? I think that's it. Let's see, there was Maki, Waki. They rhyme, I guess. And who else? Oh, right. Is it Phoenix himself? I think it was Phoenix. Anyway, let's save. October 8th, 1:24 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 6. Okay. So, where exactly does this leave us, Apollo? Well, the Drew Measham who was killed wasn't Drew Measham the forger, basically. Huh? Well, then who was he? Well, he was actually she, Vera, doing her nails. So, you really made those forgeries? With that little, like, hand thing again. Is that her... That's her nail polish, right? So you really made those forgeries? Yes. For Father. For Father? I know it was wrong. Could you tell us how it happened? My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, Father saw it in me. He saw that I had the talent. The talent for making forgeries? How should I say it? It was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I could make anything. Oh, you made the forged evidence too. Anything. Father was so proud, and I so happy. Now your dad just used to. He's a shit. But in the end, I was making those forgeries. I've never had a good constitution nor personality.
I know very little of the world outside my door. Now, because of me, Father is... Do you know about this red envelope? I remember that envelope. It was some time ago.
So you were already, you were already creating your works back then?
That started when I was only 12 years old.
So the one who figured out the stamp was poisoned, that was... Mr. Justice, it's time. To the courtroom, please. Right. Out of time.
Wait, Vera, just one more thing, please. Those 3 paintings in the studio. I painted those as part of my work. Right, see, we checked them out and we saw what was underneath.
Ah, yes.
We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings.
Who did those? I don't think it was Vera.
I see. Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Father, he knew of you. The both of you.
Your late father.
He was watching, gathering information. All about the Wright and Co. law offices. But lately, we're not doing just law. Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse, and play piano. Well, they're not really gags. Yet when Father heard you had resumed the legal business, how pleased he was. Who is Mr. Misham?
Am I supposed to know?
What if he was Daddy's daddy?
Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely. Phoenix Wright's father, huh? There's no way. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. But what are you talking about? There's only like one dad. Actually, 2. Drew? It's just Drew and Phoenix. Unless, Apollo, unless you're talking about more daddies. Apollo, are you eyeing Gavin? No? Just checking. You know that the victim's daughter, Vera, was the forger. What does this mean for the case? Guess we're about to find out. October 8th, 1:36 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 3, and we will continue this in the next stream. Yeah. This is a good place to end. It's safe here. Alright. Next time on this stream, the Diihaa channel, in the laboratory, we will be doing the second part of this trial. Definitely gonna solve some mysteries. Everything I predicted mostly was true, but I don't know how this is gonna play out from here on out. No idea. Can't wait to find out. Alright, well, till then, hope you all have a good night. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you guys soon. I'll be waiting. Next stream's on Tuesday, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that.